Hello again. My name is Tracy. Just in case this is your first visit to our vlog, this is all very new. I've just done the first one of our sharings of our journey of relocating from the UK to France. It's 15th of September still. This is, as I say, our second vlog, and our plan is that tomorrow we get on a ferry tomorrow night and go over and do a handover on an apartment to that we've managed to secure for at least a year over in France. So what I'm going to do is give you a little bit of background about how we got this far. We began planning probably 4 or 5 months ago with the transition period looming. We felt that it made sense to try to take advantage of the benefits of being EU citizens at this point. There have been moments in our journey where we thought actually maybe it's just pushing it too much and we might just need to accept being a third-party country and doing it without being EU citizens after December. But actually, whilst we've kept finding doors not slamming our face, we've just carried on trying despite the challenges of the timescales. So what was really key for us, I think, in the early stages was finding someone to help us unpick what we knew tended to be quite a lot of bureaucracy probably in France, and try to understand what it would mean for us to secure residency, how it would affect our jobs, healthcare, all that sort of thing. So we went through a few people that we found. I say we, my husband Ian has been brilliant at researching and finding different people that have placed themselves, either the French people who understand the system well and thus can help people navigate moving over, or people who have done it, so have become resident from the UK and are helping people that way. So we got some brilliant advice that really highlighted things that we needed to be aware of that we weren't even aware that we needed to be aware of. But actually we've settled with one guy who has just been brilliant, and actually they've got a really interesting story. So they retired over to France and the UK, and I think they're early sort of 40s. He's a retired accountant. I think his wife's a retired sister, I think. But actually they got a bit bored, so they've set up a company to help people like us move businesses over and go through the whole process of securing residency. And it's been absolutely brilliant, not bamboozled us, been really sort of clear, made things feel possible whereas before they might have felt impossible. And I think what made him the best fit for us and helped us feel the safest with him was that he's done it so many times. Okay, not necessarily within the backdrop of Brexit, but understands who you need to talk to, what the processes are, and I think he's helped to reassure us that. So I think we were really worried that everything might not be quite right for us to secure residency. But I think one of the things that's been really heartening is that during the process, I think we feel reassured that the French government are really keen to support and facilitate any former EU citizen in gaining residency there. So they're not going to try and trip us up. It will not be easy. We're not naive to how much paperwork there is likely to be, but that if things, they're not going to try and trip us up, I think is what felt really important. So he has been really, really useful. And one of the things he's been useful with is finding somewhere to be. So we're not ready to buy. We don't know exactly where we want to be. We've had 2 trips to France so far, just over a week each. to start to look at places, to get a sense of communities and whereabouts you might want to be. And we think that's probably southwest France, but maybe actually further south towards the Pyrenees. They're probably the two areas we're looking at. But what has been really challenging is finding a long-term let. We were able to get off-season lets they were quite readily available. So October to sort of May, June. And we met a lovely, lovely couple whose house we were going to go with in MA, actually, which is not somewhere that we would have seen ourselves because it's quite densely populated with British people, and we didn't see ourselves in that sort of environment. But actually we went there a couple of times and thought it was really great, and it was a lovely sort of holiday home that would have done, but it was within that fixed period, and really we wanted longer than that so that we didn't end up starting the process again come the summer. We really wanted somewhere that we could have for at least a year, to give us time to experience being in France and to get all the paperwork and the logistics sorted out. So it was really helpful that he was able to tell us what paperwork we would need to support a residency application. So we looked on various websites. Rent a place in France was a key one. Hadn't really got to grips with what was available on Facebook at this point, but Facebook is amazing for the number of different expat pages and buying and renting in Southwest France or wherever. So that is a wealth of information. So definitely search Facebook and other social media, the people that are offering up houses and that sort of thing. But my key bit of advice would be don't commit to somewhere before you've seen it. So we nearly did. And it looked great in the photos. It was really well priced. The woman that owned it was just the most amazing person. She was so fantastic and supportive. So our second trip was to go and stay in this place. One of the key things for us is internet connection because we have to still work. So we wanted to go and test the internet connection. I managed to get a 4G box from Bouygues. That's a different video. The joys of internet and what's available. So she kindly let us go and stay in her house. She'd had a long-term let there who had gone a couple of months ago, I think. And we got her through an agent. So we merrily went off, 7 o'clock in the morning, we left, got there at 11 o'clock at night, and there was no water. The water had been turned off. It wasn't even that the stopcock had been turned off, it had been properly turned off by the mains. And it was, it was like 40 degrees this time we were there. So, we didn't have any drinking water, we couldn't wash, couldn't flush the toilets. But again, the lady that owned the house was fabulous and amazingly managed to get the water board out on a Sunday morning to fix it. And this is the area that I most wish I'd got myself organised and started this vlog, because it would have been amazing to have shared this place with you because, oh my goodness, it was just awful. I mean, no discredit to the owner. She really was amazing, and I'm not sure that she realised how bad it was, but it looked like it hadn't been cleaned for months and months and months, let alone the time that the tenant hadn't been there. And I'd expected that I'd need to do some cleaning when we got there because I knew it wasn't tenanted. But it was just in a terrible state. Yeah, there were mice in the kitchen. We saw rats in the roof. There was mould on the mattress. Taps wobbled when you washed your hands in this bathroom. Your feet got wet. There was smells from the toilet, which you think were probably leaking pipes because however much I cleaned the toilets, I couldn't stop the smell. The garden was really overgrown. It was a big place, but it just... And the family had done a lot of work on it when they first got it, but it was just badly done. There were chunks of the door frame taken out so the doors could open, and a lot of the doors didn't close properly. And it was just... We woke up the next morning just weren't sure that we were going to have the courage to say, but actually we just got on with it and used it for what we needed to use it for, which was a base to go and check out other places. And we certainly knew that it wasn't going to be the right place for us to let. And I think since then they've realised that it's not a place that is lettable because of the state it's in. But it looks so good in the photos. You know, we were really tempted to just go for it because we were beginning to panic because there aren't that many long-term lets at all. So yeah, my bit of advice there is definitely don't take a place based on photographs because it really might not tell the full tale. This was also furnished, but actually, I mean, we couldn't sit on the sofa. Oh, anyways, right, you get the point. Yeah, so there you go. That's my bit. That's my little bit of a tip for you. But what did happen when we were there was that we did find a couple of other places that were available or that seemed available. And as I say, one of them was the MA house and we went to have a look at it. In fact, actually, I got her through Facebook. I'd put something on Facebook and I then got in touch with her and we went to see her and went to see that house. And as I say, that was lovely and would have worked apart from the fact it wasn't a year long. We found this other place. It was a mill. And it was just perfect for us. I had an apartment, a 4-bedroom apartment, and we've got 3 children. They're not likely to come with us. Again, we'll tell you about that next one. And it was in 10 acres of woodland and field, and the couple that own it were just amazing, and their teenage son. And they're actually relocating. They're moving away, going to New Zealand. So we would have had the apartment, and their house was going to be empty. And I just loved it. But we didn't think they wanted us because they had a number of the people that were interested. So we felt like we were a bit of a beauty contest, to be honest. And we hadn't heard from them for a couple of days. And this morning I woke up and I just said, Ian, this is just too difficult. I think we just need to not feel the pressure of Brexit. Let's just stop. Let's say no to the houses and let's just take our time. Which is what we were going to do. So we emailed the MA house and said, we're going to go back. And then I said, Ian, you email the other house, the mill. And just he was about to, I said, oh my God, I just find this one really hard to let go of because I just loved it so much. And so he went and made a cup of tea in this mouse infested house. And as he did that, my phone rang, and it was the woman who owned the mill, and she was saying, she said, oh, we would love you to come. If you want it, we would love you to have it. And I was like, oh my God, yeah, we really do. So to cut a long story short, we went back to see them that afternoon. They're about a 2-hour drive away from where we were staying, and we spent more time with them, talked about things like maintaining the land, which we felt quite anxious about being responsible for, and we've since come to a solution for that. We're paying a bit more so that they get a gardener in that takes responsibility for the land, because we're going to be coming backwards and forwards potentially to start with. At least we just didn't feel like we could take on the responsibility of the land. But anyway, so we were able to secure that, which we're absolutely thrilled about, and that's where we're going tomorrow to hand over before they go off to New Zealand. And so we've got a contract drafted, and again, having this guy has really helped us put that together, and attestation, which we also knew that we needed to secure our residency. So again, he helped us put that together in English and in French. So yeah, that is our story of finding a long-term let. Really not easy, because there are quite strict rules in France about renting, and people rarely do long-term rents because the power is on the side of the tenants in terms of getting people out. So people can have trouble with people not leaving, and there's very little that can be done about that from the landlord. Absolutely, during the winter months, you're not allowed to evict anybody during the winter months. But yeah, horror stories about that going on from year on year. So if we're really lucky, and I'm aware that there are a lot of people that are struggling to find long-term lets, furnished lets particularly, so that does appear to be a challenge. So maybe off-season lets are the thing to do in the first instance if people are struggling. If you've got any questions about any of that, about contracts, attestations, other paperwork that you need, do ask. That's probably where my husband will make his guest appearances, because he's much better on the detail of that sort of stuff than me. It's certainly helped that we've got a British landlord that we're dealing with. I think we probably would have found it more difficult had they been French. So we've been able to do a lot through Zoom, and just building rapport and trust and communicating with each other, I think, has made a big difference. This is way over the 10 minutes I promised you. We're on 15. So look, I'm going to stop talking. But hopefully that's a good bit of information to get us to this point. And as we go on, I shall tell you about our situation with children and moving businesses and things. But maybe we'll do that in France. So, salut for now. And I'll see you in France. Cheers.